Anton Derlyatka is the co-founder and CEO of Sweatcoin, and Sweatcoin are rewarding people by giving them currency in reward for daily steps, and users can earn 10 to 15 pence for their 10,000 steps a day, and with 44% of the nation participating in a simple walk to benefit their mental health, it's a simple way to generate some savings. And Anton, of course, joins us now. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you very much, Toby. And yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, making money from a simple walk sounds too good to be true, is it?
Well, it's not apparently, because we spent the past 5 years figuring out the model. How is that possible? And the cornerstone of what we do is the belief that physical activity has an incredible amount of value to you, to your family, but also to your employer, your insurer, your healthcare provider like the NHS, and the society at large. So our model, our job is to be able to extract that value from the economy and give part of it back to the consumer, so that it makes them more excited and more interested in walking even more.
So what would your advice be for people who want to get out and start walking?
Oh, it's very simple. So, most of our users are someone who've been continuously trying to become more active and failed. Because, let's face it, the best way to become more active is what behavioral economists call intrinsic motivation. So you don't need any further, outside external incentives. You just convince yourself that's a good idea. Now, it sounds great, but unfortunately, it's not available to the vast majority of us. And, then the alternative solution is to find something a bit different. And what we've seen is that traditionally people have been paying huge amounts of money for, gym memberships, expensive fitness equipment, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, according to our research, about £4 billion a year gets wasted on people spending this on unnecessarily.
Wow.
Because they abandoned their New Year's resolution about 2 weeks into the year. By now, more than 2 million people, 2 million Brits, have already given up on their New Year's resolutions. So all that money goes to waste, and that's a bit of a shame in the times of the cost of living crisis. So we decided to take a different approach and say, how about we just incentivize the behavior that's clearly very, very positive and has got lots of positive externalities.
Now, there's a lot of people who are maybe on a very well-paid job, or even just an average paid job, where 10 to 15 pence for what maybe takes an hour and a half to 2 hours of their time isn't really worth it.
Well, let's not focus too much on the actual value, because the actual value goes up and down. And also, at the end of the day, this is the value you get in exchange for your steps. And for us, we work with more than 600 partners around the world. You can get a music subscription. You can get, real product, products from brands like Reebok, Puma, and other guys. And also you can donate to charity. So at the end of the day, the value is much more than just the absolute value of money that you're making. And I think what's most important is that we are developing a product that drives one very important message home. Your steps are actually valuable. Your steps have value, and this is the starting point. This is where your habit starts forming. And this is how we managed to help more than 120 million people around the world to become more active.
Do you think that after lockdown, people are rethinking the way they do exercise maybe and have started walking? Because during that time, that was one of the few things you could do.
Well, absolutely. We always focused on walking rather than, lots of people asked us, why don't you reward, people going to the gym or doing high intensity training classes and stuff like that? Well, we do believe that walking is the lowest common denominator of physical activity, so to speak. It's available to near 100% of the population, and we'd really like to build something that would be equally attractive and available to teenagers or people of age, and regardless of your socioeconomic strata. So I think it's very, very important to start engaging with that, the more simple type a physical activity, because let's face it, part of the reason why people abandon their expensive gyms is that it's asking for too much, because the expectation is almost like you're a couch potato, and then you're enrolling on some running course and you're expected to do a run 3 times a week. That's too much. It's too much too quickly.
And we mentioned about all the money that people are wasting. Walking is of course free, and with Sweatcoin you can make money from it. Are there any expenses that you think are a good idea when it comes to exercise?
A pair of good walking shoes is definitely a good idea. But having said all this, all of us will already have some walking shoes. So essentially, not really. What is really essential is the state of mind. And walking is wonderful in more than one way. It's not just physical activity, but it's great for your mental health as well. Right now I'm in Southwest London, and the sun is shining. And it would be so great for me to go outside and just enjoy the walk. Maybe I should do it next time when we speak. Yeah. That's a great idea. So walking is wonderful.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And when it's a lovely day, like it appears to be here as well, you just want to get out there, don't you? What's your advice for people when it's not so much a lovely day?
Anyway, so I think that what's key here is to develop a habit. And developing a habit, every little helps. I mean, first of all, I would advise not to feel guilty if it's difficult for you to exercise every day, because we are not designed to be active. The Mother Nature did not build us to be active. In fact, it actually built us to preserve whatever scarce calories we could obtain. So it's perfectly normal. We're lazy by design. I think what my second piece of advice would be that, try to engage in something, as simplistic as walking 100 steps, but try to do it regularly. No problem if you miss today, but try to do it, instead of taking a bus to a station, if it takes you 5 minutes, why don't you just take a walk? And we built Sweatcoin with that in mind. It's those tiny nudges that help you change your behavior ever so slightly, but on aggregate, over time, that will be a substantial change.
And is there such a thing as making up for your step debts? As in, if you don't do 10,000 one day, you could do 20,000 the next day? Or does it have to be a kind of everyday keeping active thing?
Well, what I would say is that whatever makes you happy, it's just, it's too early to say, okay, I haven't done it 10, let me do it 20 tomorrow. 20 is too much, 10 is too much. So just do it regularly and see how it goes. And then you'll get into the groove and you'll get to like it. And before you know it, you're a serial walker, so to speak.
Yeah. Where can we go to find out more information?
Very simple. If you have an iPhone, you go to App Store. If you have an Android phone, you go to Google Play. You type in Sweatcoin, sweat for sweat and coin for coin. And there'll be a free app popping up. You install it, start walking. As simple as that.
Excellent. Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great to have you on.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.